Barry Bambert chef can do this. We can do this.
Absolutely. So, hello everybody out there in Twitterland and in the virtual world. I have the honor tonight of introducing you to Guillaume Bourreau. That was close enough. And Tom Finnegan.
Hey, there we go.
We're here at the Washington Wine Academy in Washington, D.C., and we're going to be tasting through Chateau Paul Moss wines. So with no further ado, let's get started.
Great.
I will be off to the side, so if anybody has questions, tweet them in, and I will feed them to the gentleman as we go.
Well, Guillaume, thank you for coming tonight. We really appreciate you taking the opportunity to sit down with us and everybody out there and discuss the wines of probably one of the most historic wine producers in all of Languedoc. Can you tell us a little bit about Domaine Paul Moss? I understand that they've owned property there for almost 1,000 years.
Hi everybody. So, as you said, I'm Guillaume. I'm the head winemaker at Les Domaines Paul Moss. I used to work with Jean-Claude Mas, the owner, for more than 12 years now. And I must say that it's a real pleasure to be here. Yes, we are based in the Languedoc, in the southeast of France. We are Domaine Paul Moss consists now in more than 8 estates, located all over the Languedoc, from coolest place to hottest place. So it starts to be a big company now. And the challenge we have is that all these estates are located all over the Languedoc. We produce a large range of varietal wine in Pays-d'Oc appellation, and we have also some cru, some Côte du Languedoc, and we have also an estate where we produce some bubble, like some sparkling wines, Blanc et Bouilly and Crémant de Vigny. Sorry for my little French accent, but
oh, we can't be sorry at all. That's the best part.
But I will try to make it as clear as possible.
So, with all the estates that you do have and all the wine that you produce, what do you see as the advantage of the spectrum of wine that you produce, from the very everyday wines all the way up to the Languedoc? What gives you the advantage of so much diversity in the wines that you make?
In fact, yes, we have the chance to have in this area, the Languedoc, which is an incredible place because we have the opportunity to work with more than 30 different varietals, more than 15 white, more than 15 in red, and we have also we can do different blends. We are not stuck by different rules, as you can find in Burgundy or in Bordeaux. So that allows us to create different cuvées, and this place also is very nice place to produce wine because this is one of the oldest parts of France, and we have the influence also of different wings, 3 main wings: the Marin, Tramontane, and the Mistral, which gives a unique terroir. And we have also vineyards located just down the Pyrenees Mountains. So it's almost like the Burgundy tonight, very hot during the day and very cold during the night. And that allows us also to produce amazing wine.
So is that how do the winds influence the terroir? I know that the Mistral is a very strong wind. It makes the vines very hardy. What do the other 2 winds add to that?
But the Tramontane and the Marin. The Marin is coming from the sea and bringing some humidity and some coolness, because as it's very hot, it's always good to have. But all these wines together, because the Mistral dry the grapes and avoid disease. So all this together makes a very all these wines have their influence on thanks to them we have a unique terroir.
Excellent. And you said that you produce some Cru Languedoc. That's a fairly recent development in the Languedoc, correct? That's very historic, but only recently has they become part of the AOP system. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your cru Languedoc?
Yes, yes, we have the chance to have some terroir in Pézenas, where we produce different fruits, which are Pézenas, Pézenas, which is a new appellation, and three Grey de Montpellier. And we have also another estate, more near the Terrasse du Larzac side, where we produce
I'm sorry, the Terrasse du Larzac. Larzac, okay.
Where we produce also another fruit, which is Terrasse du Larzac.
Okay. And those are the best wines that you make in Europe.
I think yes, the terroir is incredible. For example, to two words about Chateau Polmas. Chateau Polmas in fact consists is made of two different estates. The first one we call the Castle, based located in Conas with 25 hectares vineyard, and the second one is in Nicole with 80 hectares vineyard, and it's located in fact the vineyard is planted at more than 120 meters above sea level, and so in that place we have also the influence of the sea, which cool the grapes, and bring
even at that altitude you have the influence of the sea.
Yeah.
Wow. Just the breeze is coming right in, and with the hillsides, I'm assuming that you're getting really dense fruit off of those vines because of the struggle to stay on the hillside.
Yeah, because we have the sun, we have the wind, so that means all the grapes are very ripe. You know, Syrah is very well adapted for this terroir, because the Grenache also, all the vineyards are planted with all vines of Grenache, so Grenache, Syrah, Carignan, and Mourvèdre gives a best expression in this case.
So we have a question from one of our participants. She's asking, what eco-friendly farming practices do you use? So ecological.
For us, to preserve the environment is very important. So
To preserve the
environment,
environment, okay.
Is very important. So all our wine are terralitis. That means that the produce we use as fertilizers or pesticides, and the dates that we have to put it in the vines are strictly controlled.
So you do use fertilizers and some pesticides, but you strictly control
the quality of the produce, the products we use, on the date we add them to the vine.
And that also assists with your terroir, right? That assists with the terroir of the wine as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so shall we get started with some tasting?
Sure. Okay, great. So this is the first one.
Yes.
Would you like to talk about this? This is the Chateau Polmas, Clos de Mille Rouge. Okay, this is coming from the Languedoc. Obviously, this is Appellation Coteaux du Languedoc.
Yes. So this wine is Chateau Polmas. Is a blend of Syrah, Grenache, and Mourvèdre. It is 85% Syrah, 10% Grenache, and 5% Mourvèdre. There is a little thing I want to say before starting, that all our wine are easily, you can recognize easily all of our wine with the label. You can see on all the labels a bird, which is a heron. Heron, which face to the castle in Conas. So just a little story about this bird, that you know that this is a bird that usually eats fish. And the story says that 2 years ago there was this kind of fish in our vineyard, and it found that the grapes were so good that he decided not to eat fish anymore,
to eat the grapes?
And to eat the grapes.
Wow.
That's why you can see it on all the labels with the grapes in the mouth. It's becoming the emblem of the estate.
That must have been a terrible harvest, though.
Let me hold that up to the camera for everybody so they can see. So you see the heron. Ooh. All right.
So this is the place where we produce our cuvée, Château Polmas. We produce also in this estate the Vinus, Vigne de Nicole, Polmas Estate, and Polmas wine. As I told you, so the vineyard is planted at an altitude of 120 meters, 120 meters, and it's planted with old vines. An important thing also to know is that the name Clos des Murs,
yes,
because the vineyard is surrounded by wild blackberry plants.
Wild blackberry plants.
And blackberry means mur.
Right, right.
In French. So that's.
Do you feel that any of that influences the terroir of your grapes, or is it just a nice fact? No,
it's just a nice fact, I think. So this, few words about this wine. The Syrah is between 25 to 35 years old vines. The Grenache is around 30 years old vines, and the Mourvèdre 18 years old vines.
So the Syrah and the Grenache are both 30-year-old vines, approximately, and then 18-year-old vines for the Mourvèdre?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one of the interesting points of this that I found learning about your wines was that you're aging this wine at a certain point in American oak,
yes,
which seems very unique for a French winemaker to get away from French oak and age the wine in American oak. Why do you choose that? Because I see that you do use French oak. You the Sirloin Moreau and Francois Frère, and then you're using some American oak. What does that add to your style?
In fact, everything is based on the tasting. And we have seen that French oak usually bring more tannin and structure to the wine. And American oak bring more vanilla notes, green notes. And the fact is that our grapes are so ripe that they have already a lot of smooth tannin. So it was not useful to add tannin to tannin. That's why Mr. Mas, that it was better to age the wine in American oak to bring more roundness and to complexify the wine.
To add more complexity to the wine.
The other fact also is that American oak is less expensive than French oak.
Much less expensive.
But that's not the reason.
But that allows you to keep an attractive price point, which is one of the key things about the brand.
Yeah, for sure.
And these wines all retail for less than $25 a bottle in the U.S.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So Château Polmas Clos des Murs is around $18.
Wow.
That's a lot of wine for $18.
So I hope everybody's tasting these wines now out in Twitter land. Do you guys want to give them a taste?
Yeah, definitely.
And what?
Few words again. I want to say that capacity production for this wine is around 98,000 bottles.
98,000 bottles of this wine?
18 hectares vineyard, and yield is around 42 per hectare. For soil is clay and limestone with profile.
With fossils, right?
Yes.
Clay and limestone with fossils, right?
Yeah, that's it. What I want to say too is that we do traditional fermentation on this wine, grape distillation. Then we do vinification separately for each varietal. We do so fermentation lasts 1 week, and then we have a maceration of 3 weeks for the Syrah and 2 weeks for the Grenache on the Mourvèdre. After that, 40% of the cuvée does the malolactic fermentation in a barrel.
Yes.
and the other 60% are put in barrels after the malolactic fermentation.
Okay.
And then we have an aging in oak for 9 to 10 months.
Okay.
Mainly, so it's mainly 30% are new oak barrel, 35 1 year old barrel, 1 year old oak barrels, and 35% 2 years old barrels.
So you get some influence from the oak, but it's not meant to be overbearing.
No.
Yeah.
No. We don't. We want to have a very good balance between the fruit of the wine and the oak. In fact, the oak must bring something, must add something to the wine, but must not cover all the aromas of the grape.
There are many winemakers that use a very high percentage of new oak, and I feel in many times that it completely dominates the wine, and destroys the fruit, and just makes the wine taste too oaky.
Yeah, it does. That's not ideal.
So I want to talk about something in a minute, but why don't we taste wine so we can talk through this first wine and you can give us your impressions of it. So when we look at the wine, I would say this is a fairly deep ruby color.
Yeah,
would you agree?
Deep purple color, yeah.
Purple ruby, yep.
But first thing we can say is that the wine is practically smooth. At the nose, you have kind of black olive tapenade, this kind of little spiciness to black pepper notes, blackberry notes, blackcurrant notes.
There's a lot of blackberry, blueberry, blackcurrant. There's a lot of fruit. It's interesting that you say that tapenade, because there's that, I guess, briny note from the sea air coming into the vineyard. Yeah, that little bit of salinity.
Yes.
And that's a common aromatic note in some Rhone wines as well, right? That
Yes.
black olive tapenade.
Yeah, that's the same varietals you can find in the Rhone Valley. But of course, the terroir is different, but the varietals brings the same kind of aroma.
So what do you think are some of the misconceptions about the Languedoc, talking about Languedoc versus Rhone or other regions? Here in the U.S., the Languedoc is not very well known. So what do you think people might have an idea about that's not true?
In fact, the problem is that few years ago, all the winery in the Languedoc used to sell our grapes with big coves, and they made they used to make the poor quality wine, and so that's why the Languedoc is badly made. But few winery, Polmas, Polmas is one of them, started to make their own bottling, and started to compete with new world wines. So and they have improved the quality a lot.
So taking it from bulk wine production to bottling your own estate wines and
And so it's difficult, but so that's why we have to make a lot of effort to explain our wine, of course. We have to make a very good quality wine with good marketing, and also sell the wine at the right price. That's
one of the questions that one of our participants is asking is if you think that co-ops are an important part of the French wine industry, because that's less common here in the U.S.
Yes, that's an important thing in the wine industry, especially in the south of France. Even if you can find big co-op in Loire, for example. But the fact is that to compete, in fact, to go on the export market, you have to do a lot of innovation. You have to be different. and that's why most of the leading people, leading company now, like Polmas, for example, are family companies.
Mm.
But also what you were saying earlier, though, is one of the problems of having a co-op is that you lose quality control. Yes?
Because it's most of them are very, very big, you know. So in fact, the force of our estate is that we produce our wine in a way of a little chateau, you know,
Right.
because we control each step of the production. We have our own vineyards, we have our own winemakers in the cellar. All the blends are done by Jean-Claude Mas on myself, and we have our own bottling plants. We control the marketing, so we control everything. So that's the reason why we can guarantee high quality level, and we can also guarantee the consistency
Consistency.
consistency to the
Yes.
wine, and we can also make sure that everything is
From the beginning to end, from the fruit that you purchase or
Yeah.
the fruit that you grow to how you blend it, how long you age it for,
Yeah.
till the final bottling
Yeah.
stage, everything is completely in your control, and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
raises the
Yeah,
quality
yeah.
level of your wine.
And that's also the word I was missing later, that we can also ensure the style of the wine, because we control each step. That makes a big difference.
You want to try it?
Let's go.
So our participants are asking what qualities are you looking for in the Clos de Mer when you're doing the blending?
What we want to have, so it's we used to say that we produce old world wines with new world attitude.
Old world wines with
Yeah.
new world attitude.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
So that means that in all our wine we want to have a lot of fruit, but not only fruit, because people when you say, oh, it's a fruity wine, they always think they think it's a light wine.
Right,
But-
and it has no character,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So the wine must be fruity, but with a very ripe fruit, with a lot of complexity, and what is very important too is the balance in the mouth. So it must have a lot of structure with smooth tannin on a very long finish.
And you're able to express...
Long-lasting
yeah,
finish.
long-lasting finish. And you're able to express your terroir, but not have your wines be austere, which is more that old world style, too acidic, not enough
No.
alcohol,
No.
whereas you've got much more bold flavors, more fruit, more structure,
Yeah.
more tannin.
We don't have, you know, something like old style, classical or rustic. So some wines say they are rustic,
Rustic.
or wine that you have to forget in your cellar 10 years or 15 years before they start to be drinkable. So that's what we say new world style.
Is this meant to be drunk now?
Yes, I think the force of our wine is that the tannin, you feel at the mouth a lot of tannin, a lot of smooth tannin. So for people who like young wines, you can already enjoy this wine. But we often do tasting, you know,
Vertical tasting?
Yeah.
vertical
Mhm.
tasting, and all of these wine can age extremely well for more than 10 years.
So the 2012 growing season was notoriously good here in the States. What was it like in Languedoc?
It was also a good year.
Mm.
The fact is that in 2012, all the grapes came perfectly ripe. And so we have very good maturity, and so the wine become ready very quickly. So it was a very good vintage for us.
Would you recommend decanting this wine or opening it up a couple hours, maybe an hour before you drink it?
I'm not a great fan of decanting the wine, but yes, if you open the wine the bottle 1 hour before to have it, it could be great because it could bring some oxygenation to the wine, and the fruit can express themselves. So it can be good to open it just 1 hour before.
Okay. So we have another question here from Tara Devon in Florida. She says you strive to make wines with authenticity. And how do you translate that? What does that mean to Paul Moss?
That means that of course we have to respect our old terroir. That for us, authenticity means to respect our old terroir. So that means using having the right varietals at the right place. For example, in Nicole Estate, this is a perfect place for Grenache, for Syrah, for Mourvèdre, and because it's very hot. And for example, it's not the place for the Pinot Noir, for example. If you want to have a good Pinot Noir, you can find it in Limoux, in our estate, in Martinol Estate, for example.
In Limoux, that's where you make the sparkling wine, yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So another question is, being fourth generation winemakers, what would you say remains important to the family throughout the years? How do they honor that heritage of winemaking?
Difficult question. Difficult question. But I think Mr. Mas, the owner, learned a lot about winemaking. He controlled, in fact, each step of the production from the vineyard. He controlled the quality of the vineyard. He controlled the winemaking process. He controlled the blending. So I think he can do that because his parents or his grandparents before was already into wine industry.
Yes, he tells a story about running away as a little boy to his grandfather's cellar. Yeah, I remember that. Okay, so shall we? Do you want to say anything else about this wine, or shall we move on to?
Talk about the palate very briefly on this. It's got really ripe tannins on it.
Yes, and
good acidity.
Yes,
you get a nice kind of earthy finish there.
Yeah, and the fact also it's perfectly well balanced. I think you have the tannins, but it's smooth tannins. It's not hard and dry tannins.
No, it's not.
It's very juicy. So for people who want to have it with, for example, it pairs very well with meat, with beef, with chicken dishes also. You can also have it with chocolate also. It's very good with chocolate.
Very good with chocolate.
Yeah.
Ah.
Chocolate mousse.
Dark chocolate?
Yeah, dark chocolate mousse.
We'll have to try that later.
It's fantastic.
Okay, so shall we try the next wine? Wine number 2 is?
Wine number 2?
So wine number 2 is Clos du Moulinas, Château Paul Mas Clos du Moulinas. So which is a cru. This is a 3 hectares vineyard planted near Pézenas.
How does hectares translate into acres? What is,
hectare is about 2.2 acres.
2.2 acres. Okay.
Yeah, so basically, if you want to talk hectares to acres, roughly double.
Got it.
And we have the chance to taste 2011 vintage, which was also a very good vintage. And I think at that time this wine, after 1 year or 2 years bottle, shows extremely well. So this wine is a blend of Syrah and Grenache. It's 55% Syrah and 45% Grenache Noir.
So no Mourvedre in this one.
No more than
And
that.
a much higher percentage of Grenache.
Yeah. Almost 50.
Almost 50-50?
Yeah.
Okay.
So these wines are all that vine. The Syrah is from 30 to 45 years old. On the Grenache is more than 50 years old. Wow, that's all vine Grenache.
Old vines on the Grenache. And did you say the Syrah as well?
The Syrah is around 40.
40, okay.
And the fact is that in this wine, the yield is around 30-35 hectoliters hectare. The soil is clay on limestone also.
Sorry to interject on that. A hectoliter is 9 liters or 1 case of wine. So
One-
hectoliters per hectare is talking about the lower yields, which means the higher quality.
Ah, okay.
Correct?
That's it.
Good. Thank you.
No problem.
Winemaking, about the winemaking process, we did it's almost the same. We do grape stemming, we do separate winemaking for each varietal. We have for fermentation lasts 1 week. After that, we have 2 to 3 weeks maceration. Depending of the tasting. In fact,
Okay.
the big point is that we taste the vat, and then we decide when the grapes are given everything, we decide to do the tasting of it.
And that's why I wanted to ask where you were saying that you are the head winemaker of Pomat, correct? And you work with Jean-Claude together with all of the other winemakers of Pomat.
Yes, we have 1 winemaker in each estate.
And then you supervise them and work with
Mine-
Jean-Claude to make from the beginning to the end, but to make the blends, to figure out with the percentages of the wine and the bottling, percentages of wine that goes into oak, how much oak, for how long, all of that process, correct?
Yes, that's it. In fact, my main job is after the fermentation. During the fermentation, I need to go in the cellar with Mr. Matt, and we try the vat, and we say that the thing about the vat. But my main job is after the fermentation to make the blend with Mr. Matt, and then to make sure that everything Mr. Matt has decided in the blend is done in the right way in the cellar.
That's great.
So we
That's
have a
part of
couple
my
of
job.
questions here. Sorry, first of all, they're saying they really like the texture of this wine, so they're into tasting. So
We're
they're
behind already?
well,
Oh
you
my
know,
God.
tasting is the favorite part if you're sitting in your living room tweeting. So 2 questions. One is whether you think that these wines will age well, and if so, for how long?
Yes, we are sure the age well, because as I told you, when we do
The vertical tastings.
tasting, for example, we tasted 3 weeks ago a vertical tasting, and we go to Chateau Paul Mas 2002.
2002.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 10 years old.
Yes, and it was outstanding. It was outstanding. So of course you have a little difference depending on the vintage, but all these wines are so complex and full body that you can be sure that you will have a perfect tasting.
So if people want some wines to age, they should go and get a case of this right now, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Especially for that price.
It's a good recommendation, yes. Go tomorrow morning to your favorite wine shop, buy a case of wine, have a few bottles with friends, and keep some of them in your cellar and try them in 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years.
I think it's interesting what you say, because in the new world, everything's drinkable now but doesn't age well. And in the old world, as you had just said a little while back, it seems that so many of the wines, you make it and you've got to store it away for 10 to 20 years to actually enjoy it. But what you were doing is making wines that are drinkable today,
Yeah.
but also wines that are able to age
Yeah.
and mature and evolve, which is incredibly difficult and very impressive. So what do we got? What have we got here? This is a little bit deeper in color.
Yes, yes. The same thing, deep,
Yeah.
deep purple color. On the nose, on the nose you have some garrigue notes, you know.
Garrigue,
what
which
we
is
call
the Garrigue. Well, it's a Robert Parker note, which I always love, but that's what grows wild in the Rhone. Those
Yeah.
wild herbs like
white herbs,
rosemary and
yes,
savory and thyme.
roasted by the sun. you know,
Yes.
Kind of lavender notes on
Great with
yeah,
lamb, right?
Yeah. So we have this kind of notes, but also very ripe fruit, ripe red fruit, black cherry notes.
There's a little plumminess, if I'm not. I mean, I'm getting some black plum on this.
They're also getting the herbal notes out there in Twitter universe. Is that typical for the Molinas wine? Yeah.
On the, it's also very very juicy, you know, in the mouth. But this is also the fact that for very old vines of Grenache, you have this kind of aroma. It's more, it's less tannin.
Much less tannin,
yeah,
softer.
yeah,
It's very
yeah.
silky.
But it's a great body.
There's great full body on this, but there is that really nice herbaceousness all the way through to the finish, that savory herb.
On
Uh,
the
I don't know, I was going to say, and then you get that really nice spicy touch. There's a little white pepper, there's some licorice.
yeah. And you have also this kind of this coffee, roasted coffee bean.
Very much.
Yeah.
That nice little bitter note there.
So all together it makes a same thing. It is a powerful wine, but with smooth tannins on a wine that you can enjoy right now. But this is 11 vintage, and be careful. But you can enjoy it right now after 1 year or 2 years bottle. But you can also keep it in the cellar. So you can forget it in the cellar more than 10 years without problem.
And this is, I mean, for the price point that it's at, this is 3,500 bottles, correct?
3,500 bottles.
At least that's what I'm seeing from the label and the notes. That the Cuvée was 3,500 bottles.
Yeah,
That's not a lot of wine.
No.
I mean, you know, if you're buying that in some other regions, some other countries in the world, this wine would be $200, $300, $400, right? I mean, this.
So you need to raise your prices, I guess, huh?
That's not the goal, because what we want to do, in fact, is to share our passion for wine. And the objective is always to give the people the best wine as possible at the right price, at a reasonable price. For all our cuvée or all our range of wines, this is what we do. And I think this is one explanation of the success of the company.
Bringing wine to people so people can enjoy your wine, not making a museum wine, I guess you could say.
Yeah, because the fact is that people, they don't go in a shop and say, oh, I'm going to have a Languedoc wine today. They go in a shop and say, I want a Bordeaux wine or I want a Burgundy wine. So we have to show the people that we can produce outstanding wines and make them
affordable
wine, and make them happy with the wine, and then they come back. So this is an explanation of the success of the company, I think.
A wine that people can keep buying, not just buy one bottle of it.
An interesting discussion has been happening lately online in the wine community about what is an everyday price point for a bottle of wine. And I know that one of the pillars of the Paul Moss brand is this concept of everyday luxury. And I think it's very interesting because generally when people were voting in this online conversation, you know, they agree that wines between $10 and $20 are really everyday wines, even though you might see in some of the top magazines something that's priced $35 or $40 is supposed to be an everyday price point, but for most people that's not realistic.
But I think it's not only also a question of price. For me, these wines are very, are very body with lot of fruit, and so most of people, we have the cuvée, for example, like Aragon Frog, we sell also in the US, which I think it's more what we can call each day wine, because it's very fruity, easy to drink, packed with fruit.
Right.
You also have a lot of tannins inside,
Right.
but it's softer, This kind of wine sometimes can be
Friday.
too big for each day wine. Yes. So you can have an Aragon Frog all the week and open a bottle of Chateau Palmas for the weekend.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I do think 15 to 20 is probably my sweet spot because you're getting a much higher quality wine, a little bit above 15 US and $20. And then, as you were saying, it can get a little bit higher into the stratosphere. But I think for everyday wine, $15, $20. If you're going to spend that on takeout, if you're going to spend $10 to $15 on takeout, I think $15 to $20 on wine, I think that's fair. And I think it's a great price point, and it's a great bump up to get. I think you get more wine in that price point than you do in any other price point, at $15 to $20 price point.
I just wanted to say a few words also about what you said about le luxe rural. In fact, our philosophy in the wine business is we are not only a wine producer, in fact, what we want to show through our wine is that we want to share with people our Mediterranean way of life. That means having fun with wine, having great wine with friends, having good food. We have opened also a restaurant in our estate, which is called Cotemas, with outstanding fresh local food. In the place you can find also very nice painting. You can listen to good music. So that's what we call the luxe rural, the rural luxury.
Luxe rural, rural luxury. Okay.
It's also a way of life. It's not only to sell a bottle.
It's appreciation of life, not just working your way through life, but taking time to appreciate art, wine, food, salsa music, right?
Actually, someone was asking earlier if you welcome visitors to the winery, and if you do, then do you charge for a tasting?
Yes, everybody is welcome in the estate, and so you can have when you visit the estate. Of course, you can have a great dinner in our restaurant Cotemas, but we offer also some different activities, like for example blending lesson. You can have a visit of so you have different activities you can do around the wine, and yes, some of them you are charged for some of them.
So, if people can come and do a blending lesson, how do they sign up for those activities? On the website, or they call?
Yes, you can call. We have a sommelier, an ambassador. It's called
an ambassador,
yeah,
or
ambassador, yeah. Who is in charge of organizing.
Great. All right.
And I'm assuming you can just email him, and he can set up whatever you're looking for, give you what you can do. That sounds like a lot of fun. Restaurants, paintings, blending, tasting. Oh, her. Matilda. That's great. So that sounds like a full day. Sounds like a very full day of blending and drinking and eating. And
is that pretty unusual for French wineries to be able to have that kind of wine tourism experience almost?
Yes. I think there is only few in the Languedoc, but Palmas now, Dominique Palmas is recognized as one of the key qualitative players in this kind of thing.
A pioneer. Yeah. Okay. Shall we move on to wine number 3?
that would be great.
I'm getting thirsty over here, by the way.
I'm getting thirsty over here. Can you borrow a glass from me?
I think I'll wait until the end so I can keep
Okay.
track of all these tweeters.
So this is the Chateau Palmar Clos de Savignac?
Clos de Savignac. Yeah. This is a cru also. Cru Grès de Montpellier. It's also a 3 hectares vineyard located near Pézenas. And this one is a blend of Mourvèdre, Syrah, and Grenache. And this one is mainly Mourvèdre, 50% Mourvèdre.
And what does the Mourvèdre add to the wine?
In fact, Mourvèdre is a very special grape because it brings a lot of spiciness, pepper notes, and blended with the Syrah, which bring other kind of aromas on the structure, and with the Grenache, with the fruit, you can have an outstanding blend. So each varietal gives part to the blend.
So you don't do any wines that are straight varietal. Almost everything that you do is a blend.
No, we have single varietal wine in Pays d'Oc.
In Pays d'Oc.
In Pays d'Oc, yeah. But for example, in the appellation Côte du Languedoc, we are not allowed to put straight Syrah or straight Mourvèdre in the bottle.
But this is also an advantage for you.
Yes, because I think each component of the blend brings something, and then allow us to have a very, very complex wine on a structured wine.
Right, by putting more Mourvèdre instead of Syrah, more Syrah and a little Grenache, and you get to highlight the different terroir and the different qualities of each grape in each blend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So in this particular region in Languedoc, the requirement is to use these 3 grapes, or what?
We can also use Carignan, and we have also vines of
Carignan.
Cinsault also, but yes, Cinsault is not really used. So, but most of our, for example, I told you later about the Terrasse du Larzac wine. In the Terrasse du Larzac wine, we have some Carignan. But all vines of Carignan give outstanding wine. So for this wine, it is also the 3 hectares. We have a yield of 35 hectoliters hectare too.
So that's again low yielding.
Yeah,
low yield. Okay.
Yeah, very good. These are also old vines, old vines of Mourvèdre, old vines of Grenache, old vines of Syrah. Vinification process is almost the same. What we do is that we do 100% fermentation, malolactic fermentation is done 100% in a barrel.
Okay.
And we have an aging of 12 months for this one. And
So
it's mainly American oak.
So with this, doing the malolactic in the oak, how do you feel that changes the profile versus doing it in a tank?
In fact, all the aromas and the tannins are more melted.
They're combined, more melded together.
It's more married.
And then when it moves to the barrel, you have already the oak in the wine, and then you get a much softer profile.
Yeah. So yes, it allows to have more smooth tannin to do that. But it is more difficult, of course, because you have to follow each barrel, because these are small barrels of 220, 25, 24 liters.
So traditional barrique barrels.
Yeah. But it's more difficult when you for the work in the setup. But it brings more complexity and more elegance to the.
So while this is happening, you're tasting every single barrel as it's going through.
We have to taste each barrel. We have to do analysis of each barrel. So it's of course.
So everything, you touch everything. Everything is hands-on. So low yielding vine, which means that you're getting what, maybe 1.5 bottles per vine. But I mean, very, very small amounts of fruit. You're touching every barrel. So I mean, that's, again, it's just for the price point versus the amount of effort, restriction, quality of grapes is incredible.
So aside from the wine composition, you said this one is primarily Mourvèdre, and then the Sauvignac is about.
This is the
So this
that's
is
the
the Sauvignac.
Sauvignac,
It's
yep.
primarily Mourvèdre, and then the Molinas
Molinas
is
was 50-50.
50,
Syrah and
55
Grenache.
Syrah and 45 Grenache. Yeah.
And then what about the vineyards soils? Are they different between the two?
Not really. All of them are clay and limestone. You can find some fossils also on stones. Also, in this place you have more stones in the vineyard, but
Are
they are
these
not
heat
strictly-
retaining stones? For the Mourvèdre, the stones like in
Yeah,
Châteauneuf-du-Pape, there is-
catch the heat
Yeah.
and bring them back to the.
Oh, that's interesting. So because there's a lot of stones in the vineyard, you're saying the vineyard retains more heat that it gives back to the vines, like at night?
Yes, when it
Yeah.
goes down,
Yeah.
like when you have an oven cooling off, the heat comes off of the rocks, and it keeps the vines hot, so they ripen more.
Hmm. So what is the temperature shift between day and nighttime in that region?
In this place, in August or in July, it can be very hot. Can be around 35, 38 degrees in Celsius.
Which is what in Fahrenheit?
Kind of getting
Not
close
90.
to like high 90s, almost 100 degrees.
And can go down around 10, 12 at night.
About
50s?
40 degrees.
Wow, that's a big
Yeah, 40,
diurnal
42.
temperature shift.
Diurnal temperature shift,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's good for
Because you never want grapes to get too ripe, because then you get those kind of burnt, pruny flavors, the wines that taste like cooked jam. Right, you don't want that. You want the ripeness, but you don't want the fruit to taste too burnt.
No.
Not at all. Or you want it to taste burnt at all, right?
No. But yes, when you have good difference like that, it's good for the material. So in this wine, so I told you it's 12 months. We age the wine 12 months in American oak barrels.
You really can smell the American oak on this. You get not over the top. You get that little touch of vanilla that accentuates the black fruit, and you get that cocoa and a little bit of violet.
Chocolate also, cacao note.
Yeah, the real cacao bean.
Yeah. Same thing, you have deep purple color on the nose, a lot of black fruit.
A lot of powdered spice on this, like ground up.
Yeah. Because of the Mourvèdre,
Yeah, it smells like a coffee shop almost.
When do you usually harvest this vineyard? September, October?
Depends on the different varietals, but usually we start with the Syrah and the Grenache, and Mourvèdre is the last one. But yes, it's end of mid-September to end of September.
Someone is asking, would you comment on the price points and the value compared to other wines of the same varieties that you would find through France, I guess, the Rhone in particular?
It's difficult.
I think that's what you'd call a third rail question.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's difficult to answer, but what I can say is that, in my opinion, this is a real, very, very good money for value, incredible money for value wine. If you do a blind tasting compared to other wine from Côte d'Or, you can be surprised. If you don't think only about price, but it's a blind tasting with the quality of the wine, I think.
Maybe we'll do that next time. We'll do a blind tasting of these wines against other similar.
I think it's interesting that you said Côte d'Or, because this really fits right in the middle of that. Because the Côte d'Or will be a lower price point and much lighter wines, and then the Châteauneuf-du-Pape will be much more expensive and they're big and heavy, and you fit kind of right in there both body-wise and price point-wise. But I don't think that there's really a comparison, I mean, between Languedoc and other regions, because you can't really say, because in Burgundy they're doing Pinot Noir, in Bordeaux they're doing Cabernet and Merlot, and there's just different price points.
The only place you can compare in terms of varietals is Côte du Rhône, because it is the same varietals. But as I told you, our philosophy is to offer to people the right wine at the right price. I think the explanation is successful.
I think that based on your business model, other winemakers in other regions could argue that they could charge much more for their wine, yet you choose not to. Yes? With your winemaking style, your restriction and yields, like, there are other people would use that on their tasting notes to say this is why this wine is $100 a bottle, whereas you're doing this for the quality of the wine and being able to bring the wine to people at a good price point.
Yeah, and to develop and to promote the Languedoc wine.
Right, because the Languedoc in general doesn't have the same recognition yet. Yeah. So we have a question here about the Sauvignac vineyard, the location on the hilltop overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. Does this make for a cooler climate than some of your other vineyards?
Yes, because of the altitude, yes. But you have the influence of the Mediterranean Sea brings some coolness, you know. So you have a breeze coming from the sea, the wind coming from the sea, called the Marin, to bring some coolness.
Okay, so if anybody has any last questions, this is the time, and in the meantime, I'll let you make some final comments if you'd like.
Yes, so just to finish about this wine, it pairs very well with T-bone or ribeye.
So it's a real steak wine. This is, so we're, it's May going into June now. In America, we've got Memorial Day weekend coming up this Monday. This is, day off. We bring out our grill. So you're saying this would be a great wine to have with like grilled steak, barbecued ribs, like a real cookout wine. Since we're going into 4 months of people having their grills out, this would be a great wine to have with friends at a cookout or a barbecue with some really good meat.
What's the French equivalent of a barbecue barbecue? Do you grill?
Well, yes, but
Sunday? Is it Sunday?
Yes, barbecue du dimanche. Yes.
Yeah?
Barbecue,
Except they burn vines instead of charcoal, right?
So, Sasodoro says these 3 wines were so amazingly different from one another. I would love to really understand why. So, what do you think are the main differences?
How can I explain the difference? Because it's different terroir. This is the first point.
So just quickly on that, with the 3 wines, what are the main differences in the terroir between the 3?
Between the 3, so Chateau Polmas is located nearby Montagnac.
Okay.
Clos du Molinas, we produce it nearby Pézenas.
Okay, so it's higher elevation.
And it's not so close from the sea.
So you get a lot of that sea influence in the wind, and then the Sauvignac?
And Savignac is produced near the Chateau Polmas, near Montagnac. But so you have a big difference in the terroir. You have a difference also in the grape varietals, in the blend. And you have also a difference of in terms of aging in oak. Chateau Polmas is 9 months in oak barrel. The two other one are 12 months in oak barrel. So it's also a question of blend. So just
each varietal adds its own character, how old the vines are, how long they
Yeah.
spend in barrel, what your
Yeah.
winemaking process is,
Yeah.
and then where you're harvesting from them. Altitude, how much wind, how hot it gets, how cool it gets. It's all those tiny factors, and then finally, how you and Jean-Claude taste the wines together to make the final blends that create the character of each wine.
So for the Clos de Savignac, what do you particularly attribute the velvety, dense structure to? Is it...
To the Savignac?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's brought by the Mourvèdre. Mourvèdre is very typical grape. Huh? It's bring
Really
spice
thick
in it,
skins.
Yeah. One again, it's a question of blend. You know, you have all the quality of the Mourvèdre, and then it's almost like like a cooker or like a painter. You have different ingredients, and then you play with all the ingredients to make the final dish, or
All the layers of flavor.
to make the painting.
Yeah.
And then the last question, the Molinas seems to have the biggest mouthfeel. Is that from the Syrah, or is there something different in the vinification?
No, in terms of vinification, it is the same vinification, yes. But the Syrah, in the Molinas, you're talking about the Molinas?
Food Wine Hedonist is talking about the Molinas, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, but Molinas is you have the Syrah, but it's also very old vines of Grenache and very old vines of Syrah. So this brings more super
And concentration.
and concentration compared to Clos des Murs. For example, I told you that Clos des Murs was 25 to 35 years old. In Pézenas, it's more like 40, 45, and Grenache is more than 50. So that brings also more concentration to the wine.
Okay, so I think that's all we have time for tonight, everybody. So I'm just going to come over and say final goodbye. Thank you for being with us. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.